call me Mystic Mike because I predict these things.
Karini Silva takes on Dione Barbosa this Saturday at UFC Fight Night 3. Dione Barbosa takes on Karini Silva this Saturday at UFC 319. And this is a very close fight between these two. Short notice fight for Dione Barbosa. Karini Silva was supposed to be taking on JJ Aldrich, who had to pull out about 2 weeks ago. So Barbosa stepping up, taking this fight on short notice. Recently coming in off of an arm triangle choke win over Dione Barbosa, kind of a gimme fight for her, just absolutely dominated the fight. That was back in March, and I don't think she was in training camp preparing for anybody. So taking this fight on 2 weeks against Karini Silva, who had the full camp. She's coming off of a loss to a Viviane Araujo back in November, where she had a strong start, but just kind of fizzled late round 2 into round 3. Not a good look, kind of falling to her back, running out of gas, and it wasn't even the most high-paced fight. So kind of a concerning look for her, because she was on an absolute roll since then. Hadn't lost since 2019, where she lost to Dione Barbosa by unanimous decision. So they have fought before. It was 6 years ago. I wasn't able to find any footage of it, but Barbosa did get that win by decision back in 2019. So Karini Silva is 31 years old, 5'5", with a 67-inch reach and 18-5 in her career. Fights out of the Fighting Nerds gym. Looks to move forward, throwing hands, powerful overhand punches. Uses to kind of pushes her opponents against the cage where she can shoot, work in the clinch. Kind of puts everything into her punches, and she was tagging Araujo. I think it was in the second round with some of those strikes. Jiu-Jitsu black belt, high level on the ground, has a lot of finishing potential when she gets it there. Guillotine choke over Marina Moroz, Ketlin Souza knee bar, Darce chokes, guillotine choke on the Contender series. Has a lot of submissions and TKO, KO finishes on her record. Really good takedowns as well. Times her entries very well with her strikes, 50% takedown accuracy. And like I said, cardio is a concern of hers. She has a lot of finishes in her career. I don't think she's got a lot of 3-round fighting experience. It looks like the last time she went to a decision outside of the Dione Barbosa fight back in 2019 was against Ariana Lipski da Silva back in 2024. So is something to take into account going into this fight. Dione Barbosa, though, she's 33. She's going to be 2 inches tall, or 2 years older. Should be an inch taller, and almost identical reach. But she's a judo and jiu-jitsu black belt. Very technical striking, big and strong for the division. She has really good striking for somebody who's primarily a grappler. Very polished, but can be taken down. 42% takedown defense. She was taken down by Miranda Maverick and several other opponents in her career. So this one's very close, and I might lean more towards Barbosa. She had a full camp, just because I think she is very talented. But since she's taking this on short notice, and Karini Silva, she's had some time off, hasn't fought since November. Try to figure out some of her endurance and cardio issues. I think that she'll get this one done, just because she is very highly skilled. I think she's more tenacious, looks for the finish a little bit more on the ground and on the feet. She's had the full camp. I think she'll have learned from her cardio issues. And just looking at Barbosa, some of her most recent fights, like the Maverick fight, she was getting out hustled during transitions on the ground against Maverick. And that was and Maverick's more of a wrestler, not a jiu-jitsu practitioner. So those people are usually, they're better at hustling from position to position and winning those positions and staying on top. Whereas jiu-jitsu people are more inclined to kind of work off of their back or look for sweeps or look for submissions versus trying to stay in a dominant position. But seeing that performance against Maverick on a full camp, I just feel like she's not going to have the ability to win those scrambles or to stay on top if this fight does go to the ground. I think Karini Silva is going to have a little bit more hustle when it does go to the ground, and when it's on the feet. I think Karini Silva's throwing with a little bit more heat, pushing forward, which is good in terms of optics. I just think she'll be a little bit more tenacious, a little bit more aggressive, looking to push a pace on Barbosa. She already does kind of push a pace in the fights, which is kind of what got her in trouble in the last one against Araujo. But knowing that she's taking it on short notice, didn't have time to prepare, I think she'll have a little bit better gas tank, and I think she's just throwing with a little bit more consequence on the feet, to where if it does stay on the feet the entire time and their grappling games kind of nullify each other, I think her punches are going to be landing with a little bit more consequence. She's going to be a little bit busier, mixing it up a little bit more in the clinch, looking for takedowns, things like that. So I'm going to go with Karini Silva to get this one done by decision. Thanks.